Ethan. All your secrets compromised. Everything you are, everything you've done.
Your destiny. Neither should you.
Welcome to Movie Recap Time. Our lives are the sum of our choices. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Ethan receives a secret message from the US government. The president explains that AI parasites, known as the Entity, have mastered every corner of cyberspace, damaging digital information all over the world. The Entity has manipulated data everywhere, creating widespread error and confusion. Now, no one can trust anything. It causes paranoia between nations, making everyone suspicious. This is the Entity's doomsday plan. The only way to stop it is to find the original source code. And the only people who know about it are Gabriel and his associates, whose identities, pasts, and even existence are shrouded in mystery. Meanwhile, the Austrian authorities arrest someone who knows Gabriel, but he refuses to cooperate. At this point, Ethan holds a key, the key to accessing the source code of the Entity. However, he refuses to hand it over to the US government. The president orders him to surrender the key and warns that this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Right after, Ethan exits the building and meets up with Ben, who is waiting to escort him to a top-secret location. There, he meets Luther and explains the new plan. They must find Gabriel, who's disguised as a police officer, and kidnap Paris, who's currently being held in battle. When things start going south, Ethan and Ben are forced to reveal their true identities to avoid further misunderstanding. Paris recognizes Ethan from a past mission and agrees to help them locate Gabriel. After getting intel from Paris, Ethan heads to London and finds Gabriel at a crowded party. Ben advises him to abort the mission. There are too many guards. Suddenly, 2 guards identify Ethan and attempt to alert the others. But Grace appears, cleverly steals their radios and weapons, and tells the guards to stay quiet and, politely, take a nap. Afterward, Grace asks Ethan what his plan is, but they're suddenly caught and wake up handcuffed in a room. Unfortunately, the watch that could help them escape has been taken. They realize the equipment in the room is designed for torture. Gabriel and his men arrive. He reminds Ethan of his past failure to protect Julia, a situation that mirrors what's happening now. Gabriel demands the key, warning that someone will die unless Ethan cooperates. Gabriel offers to help locate the Sevastopol submarine, a highly advanced sub invisible to sonar that carries the Podkova algorithmic drive. Back in the winter of 2012, Russia discovered a mysterious virus had infected Podkova. To stop it, they had to destroy the virus, which was actually the original source code of the Entity. That source now lies at the bottom of the ocean alongside the wrecked Sevastopol. But Podkova's housing is rigged to self-destruct unless opened with a special key carried by Captain Anexo. That key was found by fishermen when they recovered a frozen corpse. Gabriel demands that Ethan retrieves the source code and deliver it to him, in exchange for Grace's freedom. It's then revealed that the rabbit's foot wasn't a virus or chemical weapon, but a malicious code. Ethan had been forced to steal it years ago because his wife had been kidnapped. Gabriel insists that only Ethan can retrieve the key and complete the mission. Suddenly, Ethan bites down on a denture containing cyanide. Gabriel panics trying to negotiate, but Ethan swallows the poison anyway. Everyone scrambles to save him. But it turns out to be a cheap trick. The denture was filled with toothpaste-flavored candy. After beating the guards, Ethan realized Gabriel had already escaped, but this was a rare chance to track him down. The team arrived to assist, but unfortunately, Gabriel managed to vanish into a vast underground labyrinth. They came upon a special room and found a box inside. When opened, the box appeared like a custom-built chest made specifically to interface with the Entity. Ethan put on a mask and prepared to connect. He wanted to uncover the reason behind the entity's existence. As he connected, he began to see flashes of his own past, as well as everything about Podkova, and a special drive made by Luther, designed as a poison against the entity. The entity also revealed visions of the future, starting with Ethan's attempts to destroy it, leading to nuclear war between countries, and resulting in Armageddon within just 4 days. Realizing the world was on the brink, Ethan immediately disconnected from the system and explained everything to his team. He laid out a plan to find the entity and asked Ben to take over leadership of the team. When asked where he was going, Ethan replied that he had to act fast. Gabriel had set a trap with a bomb and locked the area from outside. He had also taken the poison drive with him, intending to destroy the entity. When Ethan arrived, he found the plutonium bomb, strong enough to level an entire city. It looked like a glowing glass ashtray. Ethan tried opening the locked door, but couldn't. Luther informed him that Gabriel had already taken the poison drive. There was no way to fully deactivate the bomb. Luther could only disable 1 core, leaving 9 still active. He hoped this would reduce the impact of the explosion. Then he urged Ethan to leave immediately. There was no other way to save the city. The 2 men shared a final moment. Ethan was devastated to lose a good friend, but ultimately surrendered himself to the American government, carrying the key. Ethan was transported from Austria to America. On the flight, Brigg reminded him that he once killed his own father, believing he was a traitor, something Ethan still regretted. After arriving at headquarters, Ethan was informed that the entity had already seized control of nuclear systems belonging to India, Israel, Pakistan, and North Korea. Only Britain, China, Russia, and America remained safe. Ethan entered a secure room where high-ranking officials had assembled. They were shocked to learn that this one man had carried out so many dangerous missions across the globe. Then the president entered to hear Ethan's plan. Ethan explained that he needed the keys and access to a plane to search for the lost Sevastopol submarine, which held the original source code needed to destroy the entity. The officials strongly opposed this idea. They didn't trust a former CIA agent who had previously betrayed them. But Ethan warned that time was running out. With 4 nuclear programs already compromised, the other 4 countries would be next. They only had 4 days left, and he was the only one capable of succeeding. Suddenly, a warning alarm blared. The British nuclear system had just been overtaken by the entity. With no other option left, the president granted Ethan the mission, handed over the key, and gave him a sealed letter. Ethan then traveled to an aircraft carrier in the Pacific Ocean. There, he delivered the secret letter to Admiral Neely. Inside, it revealed a date, a painful memory tied to the death of someone they both loved during World War II. That location became the mission's target. Ethan explained that this was the spot where the Russian Sevastopol submarine was lost during the winter of 2012. Aboard the plane, Ben laid out the full mission strategy. They needed to search somewhere in the Arctic. According to Admiral Neely, the Sevastopol was near Matthew Island. Ethan would dive under the ice aboard the Bledsoe, a special submarine equipped with radio VLH shielding, making it immune to all digital tracking. The challenge? If they were detected, the Russian Navy might fire upon them. But despite the risk, Ethan was committed. Admiral Neely then presented him with a medal for courage. Ethan headed to the Ohio-class Jack Bledsoe submarine. Meanwhile, Ben's team had arrived on Matthew Island. They visited a local residence house looking for a social listening station. There, they met Bill, the station's chef. It turned out Bill was actually a former CIA agent. Grace revealed the true reason for their mission, to find the Social Winter 2012 data.
And Bill was willing to work together, but Russian soldiers were also in that place. Meanwhile, Ethan got into trouble because a Russian jet and a destructive ship were patrolling, led by Admiral Nitfov. There was no signal from the Ohio Jack Bledsoe submarine, so they had no choice but to immediately leave the area. With urgency, Ethan jumped into the freezing water. Unexpectedly, divers from the Ohio Jack Bledsoe submarine appeared, surprising everyone. Elsewhere, China's nuclear system began to be controlled by the entity, and the president was hoping Ethan would complete the mission. Ethan was brought aboard the Ohio submarine by troops. Captain Jack believed Ethan was not a spy because he showed Admiral Neely's medal. Ethan then explained the secret mission heading north, based on Morse transmission coordinates sent by Ben. Only this submarine was capable of picking up low VLH band signals. However, activating the transmitter had to be limited to under 15 minutes, or it would be detected by the deadly Russian submarines Lashcharik and Belgrade. According to Jack, if you poke the bear, Ethan's the right man to do it. On Matthew Island, Bill explained all the systems related to the social transmission equipment. Grace told Captain Kolv that the mission wasn't about Russia or America because someone elsewhere was struggling alone to destroy the entity. Kolv agreed to help track the coordinates of the Sevastopol submarine, but they still weren't sure whether to trust him. He could also be a spy. Bill started activating the social system, explaining that the disk held no coordinates since earlier troops had taken all the storage drives. Fortunately, Bill had hidden a backup file with the coordinates from winter 2012. Because this was dangerous, Bill planned to reveal it without Kolv noticing and told his wife to go to the dog cage. Meanwhile, Ethan, regaining physical strength, didn't realize a spy was about to kill him. Luckily, he was saved by one of the ship's crew. Elsewhere, after entering the dog cage, Grace and Tessa immediately attacked Russian troops and had to fight in that location. In the chaos, Bill quickly sent the coordinate point using Morse code to the Ohio ship before the place was destroyed and the house collapsed. The Russian troops decided to retreat, and the battle ended. Information was confirmed. The coordinates had been sent. But Jack said their position was too far, and the Ohio submarine couldn't approach. Suddenly, a warning blared. They were detected by the Russian Oscar II submarine and had to leave immediately. Ethan decided to go alone, using diving gear and advanced machines that allowed him to swim rapidly. Grace and Tessa headed to another location. Ethan kept diving deeper towards Sevastopol and finally discovered the submarine, now in ruins. He entered the vessel, witnessing moments when the crew faced death. He made his way to the podcar room, unlocked it with the key, retrieved the secure podcar drive, and quickly tried to leave. As he exited, Sevastopol shifted toward a cliff. Ethan searched for another way out and had to remove his suit since the exit hole was too narrow. Eventually, he escaped, but the diving machine was stuck on the submarine's tail, and he had to detach it. Now, Ethan had to swim upward using only his physical strength while enduring freezing temperatures. Unfortunately, after a desperate effort to reach the surface, he ran out of breath and was on the brink of death. Luckily, Grace arrived just in time and helped him, though part of him questioned how she got there. At last, Ethan and the podcar were safe. The next objective was to find Gabriel and retrieve the poison drive stolen from Luther. And wait, since when was Tessa there? They boarded a plane, joined by Bill and Tessa, who became part of the team. Ethan remembered meeting Bill 30 years ago when he stole a file drive. Bill hadn't expected to meet the thief in person and now returned the knife left behind on his desk. Ben then explained the plan. They were heading to land in Congo Ua under a top-secret mission called Standalone.
The top-secret, solar-powered, Tempest-hardened Level A vault could store 1 million gigabytes, enough to hold all files from YouTube. They believed the entity was hiding there because it was built for an end-of-the-world event like Noah before the flood. Ben showed the blueprint of the poison drive in Podcoa. It contained the original source code of the entity, and when combined, it would allow the antivirus to infect the entity and lock it in a digital prison, the 5D optical data drive. In theory, the entity would be disconnected from all nuclear program systems. But if the entity noticed before the trap was triggered, there would be doomsday. The new problem? The doomsday vault was shielded electronically, no signals in or out. Ethan planned to give Podcoa to Gabriel, hoping he could master the entity by uploading the poison drive, like capturing 2 birds with 1 stone. Grace disagreed. A debate followed, but there was no other choice. Ethan was sure. After arriving in Congo Ua, they continued by land toward the Doomsday Vault.
But they sensed something was wrong and prepared for the worst. At headquarters, the president saw only 27 minutes remaining. Russia's nuclear systems were hijacked. Sidney concluded that Ethan had failed. One by one, the nuclear systems were falling under the entity's control. The pressure mounted. They considered Plan B to face mass destruction. Ethan divided the team. He'd move in while the others waited. At the server room entrance, Ethan found a bomb. Then Gabriel appeared. He explained the bomb's purpose, to destroy the place along with the entity. Ethan agreed. It matched the plan to hand over Podkoa. But suddenly, Higgs and his troops showed up and threatened them. The bomb was already activated. Ben and the others had also been captured. It was chaos. Everything was falling apart. The countdown continued. Turns out, it was all Kadaj's trap. He blamed Ethan for the bad plan. Then Gabriel's hidden troops attacked, turning the place into a battlefield. The bombs still ticked. Ethan realized Gabriel was fleeing. He had no choice. He had to chase him, no matter what. Time was running out. He sprinted like a cheetah after Gabriel, who boarded a plane. Ethan got lucky. Someone else was boarding, and he snuck aboard without a ticket. He moved closer and delivered a punch so hard it knocked the man out cold, like Holyfield. Gabriel saw and smiled like a madman. Bill tried to deactivate the 30-megaton bomb that could punch through Mars. Ben, barely alive, explained to Grace how to trap the entity's server. Paris helped close his wound. Ethan tried to control the plane, dropped the package, and continued chasing Gabriel, soaring across the Congo River Dam. At headquarters, the president was out of time. She prepared to launch nuclear missiles before the entity could hack them. It was a race. Bill versus the bomb. Grace versus the server. Ethan versus Gabriel. But the president had another plan, deactivating all defense systems even if it weakened America. Unexpectedly, a guard tried to shoot her. He was stopped and forced to sleep forever. But the general wasn't so lucky. He was killed instantly. Finally, the American nuclear system was hacked. The entity now controlled every nuclear system on Earth. It brought the world to the brink of despair. Grace followed Ben's instructions. She inserted the digital prison and waited for Ethan to retrieve the poison drive. Ethan caught up with Gabriel on the plane. They fought. Ethan finally took the poison drive, but the plane was damaged. Gabriel escaped using a parachute. Ethan returned to the plane, grabbed a parachute just before the explosion and jumped, but the parachute caught fire. He plummeted toward Earth. While falling, Ethan combined the poison drive with Podkoa. At the perfect moment, Grace captured the entity, shutting down the entire electric system around the globe. They had saved the world from an apocalypse that would have ended civilization. Soon, electricity was restored worldwide. The president received the news. Ethan had completed the mission. Somewhere, Ethan landed safely using a backup parachute. He heard Luther's final recorded message, left while assembling the poison drive. Admiral Neely and Jack Bledsoe received the good news as well. As the message ended, it self-destructed in 5 seconds. After that, Ethan met with Dugan, Paris, Ben, and Grace on a crowded street. They all agreed Ethan alone deserved the entity. He had earned it. Now, they had to split up. For a new mission, maybe.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an exciting story. More thrilling recaps are on the way, and you won't want to miss them. Drop a comment below and let me know your favorite moment from this story. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay tuned, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Movie Recap Time Team.